Welcome back for another session of Frequently Asked Questions. I'm Dan Kmeyer from West Valley Technical Services. Let's get started with our first question. My computer keeps shutting down as if I pulled the power plug. Why? Well, I can tell you that there's probably two different things that will typically cause this. Three if I include potential like power issues. Like if you're running through a power strip, we've seen more power strips all of a sudden will stop working. But yet when you unplug stuff or turn them back on, they work for a little while. So if you're on a power strip, that's a good place to start because it's something really quick and easy that you can switch, maybe plug straight into the wall. One of the more common things that causes this though is overheating, believe it or not. So the processor on a computer is probably the part that gets the hottest. That's why it's got a big fan on it and stuff. Well, if it hits a certain temperature, usually it's like 65, 70 degrees Celsius, then it has a sensor in there that will automatically kill power to the computer, like instantly. It doesn't give you an alert or any warning or anything. It just will kill the power. And it'll trigger what's called a thermal event. So that's one of the more common things that we see. Another one, the next most common cause is probably a power supply that's going out. Like it just can't handle the power drain anymore. Unfortunately, all of other than the power strip, those are pretty much things that you're going to want to take it to an IT professional to have them troubleshoot. What they'll typically do is try a different power supply first or look in the logs of the computer to see if there's thermal events that have been logged, just to find out for sure. They're not generally difficult to repair. It might just be some thermal grease on the processor or maybe replace the power supply, which generally tends to be less than $50. So it is worth just taking it to an IT professional if you have this particular issue. So those are my suggestions. We got power supply going out, possibly a power strip, or the CPU overheating. So let's take a look at our next one. My computer keeps rebooting randomly. Why? Okay, if it truly is random, like it's not the same time every day, then chances are there's what we call a blue screen of death happening. Maybe it happens so fast that you can't really see it happening. There's some kind of error that Windows doesn't know how to deal with. It could be hardware as well, but this is typically a software issue. This is going to be another one of those issues that's worth taking to an IT professional. We have tools to be able to look at the error logs to see if it's triggering, if Windows is the one triggering it or not, and we'll get a code and we'll be able to look that up, and that can tell us where to look. Maybe it's a driver or a piece of hardware that's malfunctioning, that kind of stuff. But this is going to be another one that's really best left to an IT professional looking at it. Okay, let's look at our last question for today. What brand of computer should I buy? Are some really better than others? Okay, so the only thing we really have to go on for this is a statistic that our industry uses called field failure rate. And what that is what is the percentage of computers sold by that brand that have needed some kind of service? The industry standard is right in the 15% mark. Anybody who's better than that is probably doing really well. Typically, statistically, historically, from what I've heard and what I've been able to research, Apple has the lowest field failure rate. So if you're already familiar with Macs and whatnot, they really do have a good claim to fame. So if you can afford a Mac and you can know how to use them and whatnot, they really tend to be the highest quality computers. However, you're going to pay 2 to 3 times as much to have one versus a Windows computer. That's a lot easier to repair, more people can work on them, that kind of stuff. So as a general rule, I typically recommend people sticking with Windows because you're going to get more for your money. But if you're purely just want the Cadillac of computers, then a Mac is probably your way to go. Now, as far as Windows machines are concerned, some of the best field failure rates that we've seen historically have been Asus. Those tend to be a really good brand. Sony, but they ended up selling. They broke up, and now it's Vaio. You're not going to see a lot of those anymore. But yeah, Asus tends to be your best. Your Dells and HPs are actually kind of at the bottom. Acer is also a really poor brand. Your E-machines are terrible. Those are probably the bottom of the barrel. So if you can find one, Asus is a good way to go. You can pretty much only get them online. They don't sell retail very often. The stuff you're going to find at Best Buy is probably going to be your HPs and your Dells. Now, if you are stuck with getting one of those, HP does have an Elite Book line. Lenovo is great if you can get a T series. Don't get their G series or any of their consumer stuff, but a T series. It starts with a T. Then those are absolute rock stars of computers. So we definitely recommend HP EliteBooks, Lenovo T-Series, Asus. Pretty much anything Asus makes is really great. Veo is really good as well, and Macs at the top. So those are our recommendations, and yes, there really are some that are better than others, and that's the statistic we use to prove it, is the field failure rate. All right, so that does it for this video. If you have a question you'd really like us to cover, send it in at wvtsboise.com and go to the contact page, or give us a ring at 208-477-1837. We love to hear from you. These are always really fun for us to do, and the more feedback we get, the more enjoyable it is for everybody. We want it to benefit you as best we can. So we'll see you in the next video.